Good day. My name is Jacob, and today I will present synthesis of my thesis titled Solid Waste Management Master Plan of Yogyakarta City, Indonesia. This thesis was done as a master thesis for my Master of Engineering degree for International Planetary Flow Management in Umwelt Campus Birkenfeld. So Piyungan Landfill faces a trash pile crisis. It was emphasized, I think, last year, and this is the snippets from the local news that tells on the month of July in 2023. Piyungan Landfill has unfortunately been closed because it has exceeded the capacity. But on paper, it was known that Piyungan Landfill has expected capacity only until 2020. But until today, it's still keep continuing, and there are no alternatives that's been created to solve this problem. And even though Piyungan Landfill also are responsible for other city, except of Yogyakarta, like in Sleman and Bantul, it has created a trash pile crisis that overcrowded the trash in major tourism areas in Yogyakarta and the house and on the streets and so on. And based on the newest waste management informations in 2022, it was expected in Yogyakarta there are 360 tons per day of solid waste generations, with the population in 2022 of Yogyakarta around 460,000. That's why in calculation there are 0.78 kilogram per day per capita or per head. So the objective of this thesis is to create a solid waste management plan for Yogyakarta city and uses a methodology called material flow management, which is a methodology that is oftenly used by an environmental consultants around the world, and also highly referencing the World Bank report titled Bridging the Gap in Solid Waste Management Handbook, and using a best available technology method. And as you can see in the picture below, this is me where I visit on 28th of July last year, coincidentally one day after this trash pile crisis news has been overloaded in the mainstream media. I visit the waste department sector to get all the necessary data they need, work closely with it, and also visited the final landfill, Piyungan Landfill. These are the work plans, which is in essence, I worked my thesis around 1 year, and these are the details on each month and what are the main objectives that I did. And on the right is the material flow management flow method, and also the methodology. So first, I think I need to briefly talk about the general informations about the solid waste management. So based in my literature review, in Indonesia, most city trends is just collect, transport, and dispose method. And in terms of waste management policy, it is mandated to the local government. So if Yogyakarta, the Yogyakarta government are responsible for it. And waste management budget has placed relatively low of other local annual budget. For example, in Yogyakarta, it's only accounted for 1.04% of it. In Indonesia, open dumping and semi-sanitary landfill that rely heavily on waste pickers for recycling means is often seen. And in terms of the waste fractions, the most fraction is the burnable or the food waste. It's includes like 42% of it. And lastly, it's other things. And in terms of law, these are the law enacted in Indonesia, mostly the law of number 18 2008 that prioritized 3R, reduce, recycle, reduce, was being implemented for every part of the society do it. And also the Ministry of Environment and so on, believe that the waste banks is the solutions. So the waste bank is like a corporations. It can be done privately or government based or NGO based. Basically, they accept segregated waste from household or industry, from malls and so on, and then they directly being purchased by a recycling company. And for the household or society or industry that segregated and give it to them, they will receive an incentives. And that's why, as you can see here, this is Bank Sampah, meaning waste bank. The ministry believe that it is one of the solutions to to increase the waste recycling rate and waste reduction. And then there are also some uh, corporate social responsibility law that obligated that the corporations do give back to society environmentally way. And then there are Adipura awards, which an evaluations by the national government towards each city, where the local government of each city are are doing a challenge within others, and they get some kind of award if their city has implemented some environmental friendly initiatives. Now, in terms of the solid waste management Yogyakarta data, I work closely with the Ministry of Environment and Waste Department in Yogyakarta City to get all the necessary data, just mentioned of the bullet points. And the existing waste management technology, feasibility reporting, Prihandoko and some various colleges have published three research papers that also very similar aim with this thesis that produce technological, technical, and financial feasibility for the Piyungan Landfill, such as incinerator, waste partnership, composting, central landfill, and refuse-derived fuels. And official reports that are available towards this solid waste management, especially the title of Yogyakarta itself, have published a waste management master plan, and they include such as the detailed the current conditions or the status quo, some research survey that are done, and then some site visit they are done, problem phase, and they even come up with some potential solutions. And the World Bank report titled Bridging the Gap in Solid Waste Management that has provided practical guidance for for a city planning or for some policy planners, and they learn from the successful waste management in other developed countries. Now talk about the current condition in Yogyakarta. These are some synthesis from each process, from waste source, middle, and final process. In Yogyakarta, people did not properly sort themselves in the household and does not follow the waste hierarchy principle, which is well known for any developed countries. So basically in Yogyakarta, they need to understand that directly disposed toward landfill is the least solutions to go. Instead, reduce, reuse, and recycle should be implemented. That's why as a solutions portfolio, looking at with the successful from developed countries such as in Japan and Germany, they have segregated this type of waste. And I propose that Yogyakarta implement the 5 type of waste just like in Germany. And then the designated bags and bins is also a solution. A designated bag is where there are a color or number of bags and that the household or industry need to segregate their waste so that will be easy for the collections. Now talking about the collection state, because there are no segregations, and I found that there are a lack of waste fleets to be able to be inclusive. That means to be able to procure all the waste in Yogyakarta. It's around 300 fleets. That's why it needs to work with maybe outsourcing or even create or procure funds to buy advanced present day what available now in the market. terms of collections, household and industry should have a scheduled time for them to be able to pick up, such as on on in a month there are 2 times for them to for a collection of inorganic waste, for example, and then per week there are 2 times for an organic waste to be collected, and so on. And in terms of the final process of the waste recycling technology, these are the reality in Yogyakarta city. Only around 18% of waste are being undergo any kind of recycling or processing, and then the rest just goes into the Piyungan Landfill. And on the middle processing is in the Piyungan Landfill, the waste pickers actually place a lot of contributions where they directly take all available recyclable waste to be bought by the recycling company. And the status quo itself, because of the availability of data, I'm using the data from 2021, and this is the present situation of modeling in 2021. Now talking about the next step, which is the best available technology. I consider this for technology because of available data and all the technical, financial, and technological things that I can done. First, which is anaerobic digestions and so on. And then lastly, this is a subsidy program that I'm going to talk about more, the vegetable village program. In anaerobic digestions, calculation has been done, assuming that the anaerobic digestion has a capacity of 121 ton per day. And I think it's important, if nobody knows, anaerobic digestions is basically where all the organic waste to undergo some kind of processings around 15 or 30 days for the methane to be processed into energy, or it can generate fertilizers and a biogas that can be used for cooking or even for energy means. And these are the fractions. And my thesis, it undergoes very detailed, but this is just the conclusions of the output that was needed, and as a result, it show a positive technical and financial feasibility. And then hollow brick compost with capacity of 121 ton per day just been used. So hollow brick compost, why do I choose hollow brick compost instead of woodrow or any other things? Because I look at the research and it shows that hollow brick compost has its superiority against other method in terms of convenience and then the time of processing time. If you guys don't know compost yet, so basically food waste is broken down aerobically in a ground by a natural organic bacteria that can be used as a fertilizer. And as can be shown on this result, it shows a positive financial and technical feasibility. Now talking about the material recovery facility, will be created in a temporary waste shelter or the transit point all around Yogyakarta, because I think there are around more than 70 spots and so on. And I think it can become an improvement for them in terms of quality, and then utilizing those places as a recycling stations. In a material recovery facility with this area, 50% of the area will be used for to processing organic waste through the hollow brick compost, the method that I previous mentions, and the 50% of it will processing inorganic waste, such as the plastic waste into high-value plastic waste, multi-layer non-economic waste, paper waste, and residual waste. And of course, there are some machinery included, like the shredders and so on. and it shows a positive technical and financial feasibility. Next, the inorganic matter recovery facility is just concentrates on the inorganic waste and processing high-value plastic waste and the thing that I just mentioned. And it shows positive technical and financial feasibility. And the Vegetable Village program, it's a subsidiary program which answers the questions if in the system itself the the proposed technology has produced so much fertilizers, of course, that nobody would want to buy everything, right? That's why this vegetable village programs comes to mind, which is basically in a village in Yogyakarta city, around 2,500 village. Uh, it was expected if basically in the entrance or in a gang or within their vicinity, they include this kind of vegetable village where the fertilizer will be used for the society itself so they can plant and harvest themselves, and it can increase their well-being and social impacts too. And using a calculation it to produce to achieve all the necessary fertilizer for all the 2,500 villages, it would need a generation of 6.8 ton per day of fertilizers. So in accordance, it's around 14 metal recovery facility or a hollow brick compost technology that has the capacity of 6.8 ton per day to achieve these programs. Now talking about the software modeling, these are the main objective. Basically, what we want to know is from this result, and then because we know about the current situation in Yogyakarta, like amount of solid waste that goes into the landfill, we want to know what is the best capacity, of the processing technology that are being proposed here, while achieving all the expected waste that going into the landfill and the fraction of waste that goes to the landfill. Using the sulfur modeling, basically we just put the price, the cost of price per waste processing technology, and then the amount of fractions. And basically using a function of optimizations to make sure that these are the least cost of it, because we know the recycling cost and then each waste processing technology fraction per ton. These are the best optimized situations, which is concluded with anaerobic digester biogas with specific capacity of 2,000 ton per year, around 16 metal recovery facility, and 9 inorganic metal recovery facility. And I think I should mention that each metal recovery facility has a capacity of 5 ton per day because with the constraint of the area of the temporary waste shelter. So that's why it's like 16 and 9 in the facility, and it will be sporadic around Yogyakarta to make sure for the efficiency. And also implementing the waste principle of proximity, meaning that the waste should be processed in much closer waste processing technology. And also in addition, I also do an institutional legality analysis. What is there lag between Indonesian institutional legality with developed countries like Germany and Japan? I analyze between Sunburn society and so on. I talk more about it in my thesis, but basically the developed countries has implemented the waste management principles such as the waste hierarchy. The pyramid that I showed before, the polluter prey principles, which means basically that the society, like an individual, should pay for what they pollute, or an industry for so on, and then the extended producer responsibility, which means that a product has have some kind of system of procedure to make sure that they will not pollute. So there will be some additional fee added. And in Japan, as you can see, it is really specific from physical waste, small electrical equipment, some food recycling, construction material, home appliance, and so on. And in essence, while analyzing between Japan and the European Union or Germany, it found that Indonesia are lacking in the resource recovery principles or by securing a material circulation in society. So as a result, these are the proposed by implementing all the proposed capacity of the waste sorting process. The the amount of the amount of waste that just go directly to the landfill will be reduced just only 33%, and 96% of the solid waste generations will be undergo any kind of recycling or waste processing. And in terms of the reduction of greenhouse gases, comparing with the present the 2021 status quo, the status quo of the system boundary before I told you, has a reduction around 78% of it. And other benefits such as the generation of organic fertilizers from the micro-recovery facility, some biogas generations that can be used for cooking or for energy means, and some revenue from the waste procurement because every kind of waste processing technology assessment had shown a positive net profit value or the return or some profitability. Now, I also translate every kind of policy into a policy friendly way. So in on the left are the some 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 keywords that can be used to implement the policy, and on the right is the financial feasibility. On on the financial feasibility, the most important insight that I get is the government should work should work to industrialize the designated bags because it is it is too pricey for the government to provide all the bags to the all the household. Instead, they should work with the private industries or a governmental company or other or or public-private partnership so that they can sell a designated bags to the household so that it can become a source of revenue for a waste management. And for designated bins, I think it should need to work some kind of way for the citizen itself can also pay obligated to bought their own bins or there are some kind of incentive or some kind of plans. And of course, these are these are such important like in every city there are set up city hall, some e-waste centers or other things. And in terms of the waste collection initiatives, these are the objectives. And by doing the financial feasibility, it found there are a lack of estimation of 300 fleet to make it inclusive and to procure the best low pollution garbage collections. And in terms of efficiency and so on, it would need a high investment around 10,000 US dollar, which is 10 million, 10, 10, 10 million US dollar, which is can be solved by doing outsourcings or basically to create some kind of plan with other existing waste collector company in Yogyakarta city. In terms of waste processing initiatives to produce a proper and symmetrical cycle waste processing system, these are what are proposed from the best available technology. Anaerobic digester, the major recovery facility, and organic material recovery facility. And these are the proposed one with the which of the proposed capacity. These are the most important thing, and it shows still a positive and technical financial feasibility. The 16 metro recovery facility has these results and so on. So as a discussion, we know I mentioned that Yogyakarta has allocated their budget of waste management of 1.04%, which is around 1 million US dollar per year. And in terms of retribution funds that they procure for the waste management operations, it's around 186,000 US dollar. Just to invest all the proposed technology and uh, not include not include the waste source and then the waste collection initiatives, it would need around 1.5 million US dollar. But that's why I think it's important for Yogyakarta City to work to work to work towards like public-private partnership or to NGO or other international funds to fund this proposed system. But in the other hand, I'm sure that it is a it is a well investment because it has an assurance of a net profit value of around 2.4 million US dollar if every if everything started started to go implemented all together at the same time. On the other hand, of course, of course, the proposed systems cannot be done in time. It should be worked bit by bit. But in terms of that, it shows a high profitability and really good investment skills. So basically, this works that provide thorough solid waste management master plan for Yogyakarta City. And I believe that Yogyakarta City can start to persuade investors, create partnership, and start making a change to create a sound metro cycle waste management. For future works, improvements, and limitations of this thesis, an accuracy of price by directly talking to vendor would be great because I use the data from other master plan from other city and using what available data such as the cost and so on from the from available literature or research that has been done. And and of course, it's also good to to include more variant for the best available technology. I choose only four because that's the only technology that can acquire the data, all the data that was needed to do all the calculations. These are some direct these are some direct bibliography that was used just in this presentation. But for the whole thesis, you can check on the full on my thesis that you can procure by emailing me. I think I need to show something about the so this is what I mean that I translated into a policy base. I think this is really important because I believe every kind of policy can be implemented if it has some institutional legality of it. These are the timeline. Thank you for listening to my thank you for listening to my presentations. And with the title of Southwest Management Plan, I hope that my work will be useful for any kind of waste management planning in your city. And I'm gonna work gonna I'm gonna work with some connections that I know to make this happen. And if you have any questions and so on, just contact me. And if you request the whole thesis that I write, please write me an email. I will be glad to send you the full works. So thank you so much for listening.